Well, welcome everyone. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be with you today and have the opportunity to introduce you to our amazing guest, Kenny. He is going to be sharing some things with us to help us get excited and prepared for the upcoming conference that we have. So, thank you, Kenny, for joining us.
Absolutely, Rachel. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, as we get started, I first wanted to ask you to tell us a little bit just about yourself and how long you've been in the industry.
Yeah, that's always. I could tell you the short story or the long story, but I know we only have so much time today. But yeah, I was pretty much raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and always just had kind of a pull towards the creative space. So back when I was in high school, we had art class, which was mostly a glorified study hall. There wasn't much going on in art class back then, and I don't know. I could think that at that point there wasn't a lot of education on that there could be a career past this, but I just navigated through college, and I remember I had the opportunity of working for Sony Records. I went on the Vans Warp Tour for a summer, and got a call that seemed pretty random, but God works in mysterious ways. And I had a
Yes.
guy call me and said, "Hey, can you design me a business card?" And I was like, "I don't know." And so my creative career started on this random phone call, and then just a kind of a willingness to say, let's give it a shot, and to see what God has done since then has been amazing. But I've been in the creative field for about 17 plus years. About 11 years in, my wife and I were just really feeling God pulling us almost into ministry, but where God puts some people in a pulpit or on the mission field, we felt like our mission field was in the creative and business space. And so we just were seeing other agencies that really weren't prioritizing relationships and people. And we said, surely we can love people, do great work, and be successful in this industry. But success really being just introducing people to the love of Christ. So yeah, we've been in business with our company called Good Story for 7 years now. We started in our bedroom, we moved to the dining room, and now we have 14 employees. So God has been really good to us.
Oh, that's an amazing story. I cannot wait for to hear more about it as we are in person coming up soon.
Sure.
So, okay, this is what I want. If you could give us a little teaser about your session, you what your keynote will be about without giving all the goods away. Could you do that for us?
Sure. Sure, absolutely. I think it really comes down to just making an authentic impact. I know I am not isolated in this pursuit of just trying to figure out what our identity is. I think that that's one thing that we're always searching for, is like, what's my place? What's my purpose? I have this clock ticking in the background, and I think it really does come back to just discovering your authentic self and discovering what you were placed on this earth to do. And so
Right.
I have found that to be through relationship. I have this kind of theory and belief that at the end of the day, what everybody is seeking out is to be loved and to love other people. That's kind of the root of who we are as human beings. And so I'll tell a quick story. I remember um, it's just kind of a natural tendency of mine to do things that are very personal. So I do a lot of handwritten notes. We have this A-frame sign at our office where, if you were to come visit us today, or we knew that you were coming, we would say, Rachel, we're so grateful that you're here. Know that you're loved. And just this little A-frame sign, I can't tell you how many people have stopped to take a picture of it. I've had people get emotional about it, and it's those things that just started to remind us that at the end of the day, we're human, and it's all about relationships. And so I'm going to talk about just what does that look like in the way that you present your company, and the way that you build culture with your team, the way that you interact with your clients, and it's going to be broken up into individual kind of segments, but it really just comes back to being your authentic self and building relationships that matter. And it's a beautiful thing, because when we do those things that are just good in general, God blesses that and provides those other needs that you have that are realistic too.
Mm. You know what I love about that is I think that as we're in business, we can get so caught up in all the other things, the numbers game and all of that. And just your session is really going to bring us back to the center of why we do what we
Mm.
do. I cannot wait to hear it. Now, as an attendee, what should I be doing to prepare for your session?
That's a great question. I think one thing that I could say, and maybe not even just for my session, but just for this whole event. I know the speakers and all the people that are involved in putting on this conference have kind of poured into this, and we're believing that it's going to be a special time together. So, I think every day we kind of are faced with two things and two pathways. We can you kind of just look at all the things that are happening, good things and bad things, and just kind of get consumed in all the things that we have to do, or we can just kind of take a deep breath and just say, you know what, today is a blessing,
Yeah.
and today is a gift. And sometimes it's okay just to say, I'm just, we go back to daily bread. God provides our daily bread. And so I think what my encouragement is, not only for my session but for this conference, that people would just come expecting God to provide just what's going to happen for that day. And so
Mhm.
just take a deep breath, separate yourself from the noise. It will still be there after the conference, but just find a way to kind of open your heart, open our ears, mine too, so that we can walk away unified and just feeling kind of ready to take on the world after that.
Oh, that is such good advice, Kenny. Truly it
Mhm.
is. Two more questions before we kind of
Sure,
wrap up. What does being a Christian entrepreneur mean to you just as a business owner overall?
sure. I set out with my wife to start this business, and I don't I kind of have to pick and choose when I relay this, but this really is a mission for us. I have three kids. I have a fourth one on the way, so of course, like taking care of them and providing for them is a huge part of why I do what I do. But my number one mission is to invite people into this love that I know as being the greatest love, and that's through Christ. And
Yes.
so I think we are living in a very shifting society, and that having Christian beliefs and Christian values isn't always the most popular thing in the crowd. And so I think for me, you can take a stance, and you can focus on all the things that are wrong in this world, but for me, it's always just come back to just love. Christ was the greatest example of love, and his disciples were kind of a rap sheet of all the broken people, and he just used them in such a beautiful way. But I think part of our session that we'll talk about together, but just really getting back to just loving people, and it's amazing. Sometimes you don't even have to mention Christ, and then to see how the Holy Spirit moves and brings Christ into the conversation, it's really sweet. So I'm excited to be, with fellow believers, not only other speakers, but just in the audience, because I think God's going to really do something special in our time together.
I totally agree. I'm so looking forward to it and definitely looking forward to just your keynote and all the things you'll be sharing. You know, when I think about just wrapping this whole conversation up, the question I have, which you've kind of alluded to throughout, is why should someone come to the Christian Entrepreneur Conference?
Yeah, I, I think I think and I believe that the right people are going to be there. So I would say that if there's probably some right now that already feel kind of a stirring in their heart to be there. And I would just say, hey, if God's stirring on your heart, don't miss this opportunity. We're actually seeing some really amazing things um, in the Christian faith right now, where God just is moving and working. And I'm just going to believe that this conference was kind of pre-appointed to be a time where good things and God things are going to happen. And so I think, uh, the Bible talks about us being kind of, we're not really a part of this world. We're kind of like away from home temporarily. But I think
Mhm.
how special it will be for us to come together, unified believers, brothers and sisters. I mean, these are actually our family that we'll be with. And just get to talk about, one, how good God is, and how we can continue our mission to serve him with all of our heart.
Oh, Kenny, listen, you got me excited, and I'm emceeing, so I know everyone else is
Oh,
excited. Thank you so much
of
for just
course.
taking the time out and sharing your passion, sharing what we can expect during your session. Can you please let everyone know how they can connect with you?
Yeah, I think, one, I love a relationship. Sometimes I feel like I need a clone just to have those, but I genuinely love relationship and meeting new people. And so they can, probably the most prominent way is Instagram. Just look for Kenny Morgan on Instagram. You'll find me there. I'm on LinkedIn as well. Our company website is madebygoodstory.com. But I love people. So if you want to connect and build fellowship together, just don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, thank you, Kenny, so much again for joining us. Listen, if you have not signed up for the Christian Entrepreneur Conference, the link is right there. Make sure you go, you grab your ticket. It's going to be an amazing time in the Lord. We're going to be around fellow brothers and sisters in Christ family, like Kenny just said, and
That's
I
right.
cannot wait, and I don't want you to miss it. So be sure to join us at the Christian Entrepreneur Conference.